What is climate change? Climate change is the long-term alteration of temperature and weather patterns. These modifications might be the outcome of organic processes, such as the fluctuations in the solar cycle. However, since the 19th century, human activity has played a substantial role in causing climate change, particularly as a result of the combustion of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. As a result of the burning of fossil fuels, the world is covered with greenhouse gases that trap solar heat and cause temperatures to rise. Methane and carbon dioxide are two examples of greenhouse gases that are released into the atmosphere and cause climate change. For instance, using coal or gasoline to heat a building can cause these. Additionally, the removal of forests and other lands can emit carbon dioxide. Landfilling is a substantial source of methane emissions. Energy, industry, transportation, buildings, agriculture, and land use are the main contributors to emissions. Concentrations of greenhouse gases are at their highest levels in 2 million years as emissions rise. The results show that since the late 1800s, the Earth has warmed about 1.1 degrees Celsius. The past 10 years have been the warmest on record. Many people think that the primary impact of climate change is rising temperatures. However, the story doesn't begin with the temperature rise. Since the Earth is a system in which everything is interconnected, changes in one area may have an effect on changes in all other locations. Currently, some of the repercussions of climate change include severe droughts, water scarcity, damaging fires, increasing sea levels, flooding, melting polar ice, catastrophic storms, and a reduction in biodiversity. Energy from the sun is essential to life on Earth. Nearly half of the light energy that reaches the Earth's atmosphere is reflected and emitted as infrared heat as it travels through the atmosphere and clouds to the surface. A greenhouse gas absorbs around 90% of this heat, which is then reflected out into space at a slower rate. Causes. A large amount of the emissions produced by burning fossil fuels for heat and electricity can be attributed to this. The bulk of the world's electricity is still produced by burning coal, oil, or gas, which releases carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide, two powerful greenhouse gases that coat the planet and trap solar heat. In comparison to fossil fuels, renewable energy sources like wind, solar, and other natural resources produce very little to no greenhouse gases or other air pollutants. A little over a quarter of the world's electricity is produced by these sources. Burning fossil fuels to provide energy for the creation of goods like textiles, electronics, plastics, cement, iron, and steel leads to the majority of emissions from manufacturing and industry. Additionally, gases are generated during industrial processes like mining and construction. Many of the manufacturing tools and some goods, including plastics, are made using chemicals obtained from fossil fuels. Coal, oil, and gas are typically used to power this equipment. The industrial sector is one of the main global generators of greenhouse gas emissions. Due to the release of stored carbon when trees are fallen, clearing forests for farms, pastures, or other purposes increases emissions. Annual forest fires burn an estimated 12 million hectares of land. Forests absorb carbon dioxide, so cutting them down decreases nature's ability to keep emissions out of the atmosphere. Deforestation, along with agriculture and other changes in land use, is responsible for a portion of global greenhouse gas emissions. Typically, fossil fuels are used to power vehicles like cars, trucks, ships, and airplanes. As a result, the transportation industry has a significant impact on greenhouse gas emissions, particularly carbon dioxide emissions. They dominate because internal combustion engines, like those used in road cars, burn fuels derived from petroleum, like gasoline. However, emissions from boats and planes continue to rise. Transportation accounts for the majority of carbon dioxide emissions related to energy. Statistics also indicate a significant increase in energy use for transportation over the following few years. Residential and commercial buildings consume more than half of the electricity used worldwide. Due to their continued reliance on coal, oil, and natural gas for heating and cooling, they continue to generate a considerable quantity of greenhouse gas emissions. Buildings have been emitting more carbon dioxide as a result of energy use for heating and cooling, an increase in the ownership of all air conditioners, and greater use of electricity for lights, appliances, and connected devices over the past several years. Effects. As greenhouse gas concentrations increase, so does the average global surface temperature. The decade from 2011 to 2020 was the warmest on record. Since the 1980s, each decade has been warmer than the one before it. Nearly everywhere on land, there are more hot days and heat waves. Higher temperatures increase heat-related illnesses and make working outside more difficult. Wildfires start more easily and spread more swiftly in warm temperatures. At least twice as swiftly as the rest of the world, the Arctic has warmed. Destructive storms have become more frequent and violent in many locations. As temperatures rise, more moisture evaporation occurs, intensifying exceptionally heavy rains and flooding, as well as producing more powerful storms. Tropical storm frequency and strength are both impacted by the warming of the ocean. The main food source for cyclones, hurricanes, and typhoons is warm ocean surface waters. These storms frequently cause fatalities and substantial financial damage by destroying houses and towns. Climate change is causing changes in the water supply, making it more limited in many areas. Global warming exacerbates water shortages in areas that already have a shortage. It also makes ecosystems more sensitive and raises the risk of ecological and agricultural droughts, which can affect crops. Droughts can also be the cause of powerful sand and dust storms that can move billions of tons of sand across continents. There is less room for agriculture as deserts grow. Today, many people are concerned about the threat of frequently not having enough water. The ocean is where the majority of the heat from global warming is absorbed. Over the past 20 years, ocean warming has significantly increased at all depths. Since water expands as it becomes warmer, the volume of the ocean increases as well. Ice sheet melting raises sea levels, putting residents of coastal and island areas in jeopardy. In addition, water absorbs carbon dioxide, keeping it out of the atmosphere. However, when the water becomes more acidic due to increased carbon dioxide levels, coral reefs and other marine life are put in danger. Climate change puts creatures in the ocean and on land at risk. These dangers increase in tandem with rising temperatures. Climate change has increased the rate of extinction on the globe by a factor of 1,000 during the course of documented human history. 1 million species are in danger of being extinct in the coming decades. Exotic pests and diseases, forest fires, and severe weather are all risks resulting from climate change. Some species will be able to move and survive, but others won't. For a number of factors, including climate change and an increase in extreme weather events, world hunger and poor nutrition are on the rise. Fisheries, livestock, and crops might all perish or become less productive. Due to the ocean's rising acidity, marine resources that feed billions of people are in jeopardy. Changes in the snow and ice cover have affected food sources from herding, hunting, and fishing in various Arctic regions. Heat stress can decrease the amount of water in grazing areas that are available, which can lower crop yield and affect cattle. Climate change is the biggest threat to human health. A few of the health implications of climate change include air pollution, disease, severe weather, forced relocation, stress on mental health, rising hunger, and inadequate nutrition in locations where people cannot grow or obtain enough food. Environment-related factors kill 13 million people annually. Extreme weather events make it harder for healthcare systems to keep up with the rising number of diseases brought on by shifting weather patterns and the increasing number of fatalities.